Hi, and thanks for watching this presentation on how to write a Dvar Torah in 5 easy steps. My name is Rabbi Maurice Harris, and I created this as a resource for bar and bat mitzvah students that can also work for adults who may be new to the process of trying to write a good sermon, a good Dvar Torah. And what I want to say to you is you can totally do this. Okay, so the reason that you're staring at a giant number 5 is because the approach to writing a Dvar Torah that I'm about to share with you involves organizing it into 5 separate parts. It's very simple and straightforward, and I'm going to walk you through an overview of how it works. 5 sections to your Dvar Torah. In the first section, you're going to tell us where your Torah portion, your parasha in Hebrew, fits within the big picture of the Torah. And the symbol that I'm using for that concept is a compass. You're just going to take a minute, maybe 2, but you're going to give us some sense of what big events that are well known in the grand Torah story, like the giving of the 10 Commandments, or the splitting of the Red Sea, or Noah's Ark. What events are happening just before or just after your Torah portion takes place, so that people who are listening to you, even if they aren't Torah experts, can have some sense of where your parasha fits in the grander story. Then you're going to give us a summary of your Torah portion. And again, this should also be anywhere from 1 to 2.5 minutes long. Not lots of details, just summarize for us what's in your Torah portion. Then you're going to tell us what you are deciding to focus on in your parasha. What is your focal point going to be of all the different possible things that are in your parasha? Which are you choosing to zoom in on? And then the other thing you want to do with this section is tell us why your focal point that you've chosen interests you. That's really important. This is also a fairly short section. We're talking 1 to 3 minutes long. The reason you might go as long as 3 minutes is if you have a short story to share about why your focal point interests you. Now comes section 4, and this is the first lengthier section of your Dvar Torah. This is the part where you're going to show that you've done some studying, done some research into what rabbis in the past, or other Jewish thinkers, or even non-Jewish writers and thinkers have had to say on your focal point. And this is a section where if you're working with a rabbi or a tutor or someone who's knowledgeable Jewishly, this is where most people ask for help to try and get some good resources to study and then pick from. And people also do their own research with books and online and so on. This section tends to run anywhere from 4 to 7 minutes long. It's important that you really show that you took the time to learn what people in the chain of Jewish tradition before you have had to say, have interpreted, have shared, have debated about your focal point. Finally, we get to the last section, which is where you tell us what you think we can learn today from studying the things that you have discussed. This is where we get to hear your perspective, your opinions, your feelings about your focal point and your Torah portion, positive, disturbed, confused, questions, but we don't just want to hear your opinion about what's in your Torah portion. We want to hear your opinion about what we can all learn today by engaging this part of the Torah. And that's really important. I share more about that in the separate video I have on section 5. So there you have it, all 5 steps. I'm going to display them in another way in just a moment. Okay, Let's look at this from a more visual perspective. Here is a pie chart representing the 5-step Dvar Torah. And by the way, I recommend that this be about a 15 to 20 minute talk. 10 minutes, too short. 25 minutes, forget it, you've lost them. So, I've made each of the pie wedges about the size that they should be for this model of a Dvar Torah. But this is not an exact science. These are just approximations. Let's start with section 1. That's the section where you tell us where your Torah portion fits, roughly speaking, within the grand epic story of the Torah. And that's why you have a compass there, so that you can orient your audience to where your parasha fits in the big Torah picture. Section 2 is where you offer us a summary of what's in your parasha. In section 3, you tell us what you're choosing to focus on from within your Torah portion. Tell us what your focal point is, and remember, tell us why it interests you. Then comes section 4. This is the research section of your Dvar Torah. This is where you tell us some of the things that you've learned, that rabbis throughout the ages have shared, interpreted, debated, discussed regarding your focal point. You can also include ideas that you've learned from non-rabbis or even people who aren't Jewish if they are relevant and enrich your Dvar Torah. Then comes section 5. This is where you tell us what you think we can learn today by studying the matters that you've brought up in your Dvar Torah. This is where you get to share your opinions, your views, and your perspective authentically, while also being respectful of the tradition of thousands of years of engaging Torah and interpreting it, and showing enthusiasm for connecting with Torah in the present time. So there you have it, 5 steps to your Dvar Torah. I have a separate video that I've made that goes into detail for each one of these 5 sections, and you're welcome to check those out too. Thanks and shalom.